When asked about just the idea of bouncing back, Chuck really complimented this team's mental fortitude and obviously forged through your experiences the last couple of years. But how have you seen that aspect of this team grow, since you guys started this playoff run a couple of years ago, just the mental strength of this group?
It's just experience. You go through enough tough days after losses, every one of them in the playoffs feels like a weight, and you get used to handling it the next day and letting it go.
Left side, first row.
Paul, Aaron Ekblad, he's seen the best of this organization and
some leaner times.
Yeah, some leaner times, exactly. Just how much appreciation did you grow for and for his game, and how important is he to your program and the style that you've wanted to play here?
Well, he's critical, and we put Barkoff, kind of the two long-termers, in the same idea. They were both really, really good players, and then there was a whole bunch of there's still room to grow and get better, and they were willing to do that. There's lots of guys in the league that say, hey, this is my game, and I'm playing this game. Those two men have adapted and I think gotten better. I think Aaron, especially from the playoffs the first year, some of it is just the adversity that you survive makes you. That's so true about making you stronger. He broke his foot. He subluxed one shoulder, separated the other shoulder, tore his oblique, and I think he had a partial concussion, I think, but and played for the most part right through it. And I think at that point in time, that's when his game evolved.
Front right.
Paul, test your memory a little bit, but the first time you took a team to the Stanley Cup Final, you had a captain on your bench. I'm just wondering, can you share a thought on Sammy, and do you see any of him and his boy?
Yeah, his boy's a little bigger, I think. I remember about Sammy was I was on the ice with the Hartford Whalers, and he took off in front of me. I'd never seen a guy skate that fast in my life. And then he did it in front. I was standing beside Darren Langdon one day. I don't know if you guys will remember that lad, but he was a tough lad. And he took off in front of us, and Darren said, man, just once in my life, I'd like to skate like that. So I went over and told Sammy that, and I'm not going to pretend like I can do his accent. He said, yeah, but if I could fight like that once, I'd kill everybody. So that's Sammy Ketchum's story.
Front right.
Real quick, Jonah Gajette came back in last night. Is he good to go? Just, you mentioned the experience of your team in terms of you've been down in series, you've been able to come back. What is it about this group that has been so good at sort of harnessing that experience and learning from whatever you've gone through?
I think it comes from a foundation of understanding their game, so that when you show the pieces of the game that you like, there's nothing really new there. And then when you show the pieces of the game you think you can do a little bit better, it's never really, you talk about coaches making adjustments, it's almost all an adjustment back to form. We're a little off here, we can be a little bit better. So there's not a lot of changes that go on in between. Nobody's changing a major system. It takes months and years to do that. So just adjustments back to the form, but I think they have a pretty strong understanding of their foundation.
Right side, third row.
Paul, I've heard from both your team and the Oilers that when you get to this stage, you just have to be okay that the other team's going to dominate stretches of the game and kind of wait for your turn. It seems to be a lesson that only the best teams seem to get past. I wonder why you think that's such a hard lesson to learn, and when you felt your team locked in on that.
I think the best teacher for us was 2 years ago in the Carolina series. I don't know how much you watch those guys play, but they're a shot volume team, and in that building they get on you at times, and they'll own 10 minutes of that game, and if you survive it, you're fine. So with that idea, even in last night's game, there was heavy zone kind of control, and I don't know what numbers you guys run off, but I think there's about 5 to 10 seconds between of offensive zone puck control at the end of the game. So they were about 5 minutes, and we were about 4 minutes, 54 seconds, something like that. So it's the idea that if your game is right, that doesn't happen to you, puts you at 20 minutes offensive zone control and the other at 0. That's just never real. It's just not real. So understanding that when they've got their time, there are things you try to do to mitigate it. I thought we were actually pretty good at that. But each team will have that momentum. It'll come off unusual things. Sometimes it's a power play, but sometimes it's icings, a string of icings, a half-ice game. You lose control of the flow of the game is what we would say. And when you do that, you're going to be in your end for a little bit, then you got to try to get it back.
Left side, third row.
Hello. Hey, Paul. I was curious about your assessment of the Barkoff line in Game 1. It's never easy going against McDavid for a game. Are there things you're looking for them to build on for Game 2?
No, I think they were good. Like I think chances for and against we were fine with on what they were good. Yeah.
We'll take 3 more questions. Right side, second row.
Paul, you've coached against them many times when it happens, including last year in the Cup Final. But when the Oilers put McDavid and Dryidle together for a stretch, what thoughts go through your mind in terms of how you should, adjust to it?
Well, in some point, because they're together, you have a better indicator of when they're coming off the bench. It's not as big a challenge at home. It's slightly more of a challenge on the road. So you need to have more than one line. Like the third goal was at the end of a shift into the second shift. So you need to have more than one line coming off the bench. And after that, they just got to go up and play.
Left side, third row, Dan.
Paul, obviously, it's been a year. You played a regular season, 3 rounds. Some players have changed. But I'm curious, in preparing for Game 1 and coaching in Game 1 and now preparing for Game 2, does it feel like a continuation of the Stanley Cup Final last year? To feel like Game 8 is tomorrow, Game 9?
It doesn't. Like, there was more aberration in both teams last year. I thought that there was a it's funny because Game 1, looked almost exactly like you thought it might look, right, for us. Game 1 against Toronto and the Game 1 against Tampa, it didn't look anything like we thought they were going to look, and they play in our division. So that was the unusual part of the game, is kind of what the video said was going to happen for both teams. There were parts that it was working for us, and parts it was working for them, but it was kind of what we thought it would look like.
We'll now take 2 more questions. Front right.
Was I too fast? Is that why? That's not the way this works.
I missed
This is
one.
not a time volume thing. It's a number thing. Analytics, people.
So piggybacking off Pierre's question, they put
I don't
McDavid
remember.
They put McDavid and Dryidle together in lots of specific situations. And I think last night there were 3 times you iced the puck. You had your 4th line out there, and here you go. Out come McDavid and Dryidle. So how do you prepare your roster, all of it, 4th line, up for all those situations?
Well, they'll all see the exact same video, right? That we don't segment the lines and say, hey, you're only going to play against. They all see the exact same video, so they have an understanding of what it's going to look like. We won't necessarily leave the match, but everybody knows they're going to play some shifts. So even if you run 1 to 4, if they change faster than you and they come out in the 1 hole, you're going to catch half your 4 hole on that. So that's just an inevitable part of it. You'll find it usually, maybe a minute and a half more on the road than you would at home, but there's going to be a piece that it's going to happen.
Last question. Left side, second row.
Sure.
Nice one. Paul, you talked about icing earlier. There were 21 of them last night. Of course, there was the overtime. We got 8. Was that a result of good forecheck by both teams, lack of execution? And do you mind those icing? Like, is it something that you'll say your defenseman, go, you get the green light, I don't mind the defensive face-off, or you want to have a bit of control on that?
No, there's 2 different ways to look at them. There's even more. There's actually 3. You'll get a forced icing. Anton Lundell broke his stick, and we got in a little bit of trouble. We'll just take the icing, right? So those are the kind of the smart out icings that you want. The next one are the ones that you don't like, is you're not going to get to the red when you should. You don't like those. And then the bigger one, and this will depend on styles of teams, you see it more often on stretch teams. They'll launch something to somebody who's stretched, and they miss it, right? I thought we lost. I thought we just missed some. We missed some, right? They came up and we didn't get a stick on it, and if we'd gotten a stick on it, there wouldn't have been a problem. I thought that was more telling. We had the one on purpose, and then we had a couple of long flippers where we didn't get the right launch angle on it. And then the rest of them we just didn't get a stick on them for a couple of them. But I think 21, I think we had 42 in the 3rd period there in Game 7 last year, and we iced that puck 1,000 times. So I don't think we're getting that out of the game.
Thank you for your time, Coach.